Salutations, sleuths.
I'm Gina.
I'm Maria.
And we are
Fortuited. Boom! Okay. Melanie and I, it's not spooky season yet, but there's no reason.
It's February.
I know. I'm saying it's not spooky season yet.
We're like 8 months out from spooky season.
But there's no need to wait that long.
No,
let's
every season is spooky.
You can make it spooky. And I think, we need to have it just like every few months, throw in a little bit of spook here and there. Because my soul needs it. And to my other spooksters out there, I'm sure it will be appreciated. So we have some ghost stories, and we're going to break it up into 2 parts. I have a ghost story, and then Melanie has a ghost story.
I have a local legend, more so.
A local legend. I think both of us got, like, St. Louis stuff. I know when you think of St. Louis, I'm not sure if ghosts come to mind first. I think it's like...
I mean, the Lit Mansion is a pretty popular location.
See, I lived in St. Louis for so many years and had no idea about the Lit Mansion until, like, 2 years ago.
You're just uncultured.
You uncultured swine. How dare I call myself a spooky witch and not know about Lit Mansion. But the Midwest does have some spooky things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit in the Midwest in general, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got nothing else to do, so nefarious things go down.
Yeah, people get killed all the time.
Or disappear. So, yeah, I mean, these ghost stories are Missouri specific.
I mean, people shit on the Midwest all the time, but it's like, I don't know. It's got its own quirks.
In this economy, it's affordable. There's that.
One of my friends, he's moved all over, and he was like, he used to live in LA, and I was like, why did you come to St. Louis? And he's like, because it's cheap. And then he was telling me that I would fit in with all the angsty hipsters, as he said. Hipsters. And I was like, oh, and they'll never know I'm from the Midwest? He's like, do not tell them you're from the Midwest. And I was like, oh.
They will shun you.
Okay. I mean, I feel like you can tell by my voice, so...
Yeah, I wonder if you travel to other states, like, because I feel like, you have a certain idea of where a person comes from, if they're from Texas or Kentucky or...
I mean, yeah, because there's different accents, I mean, just in the Midwest, even. Because, like, I know people who've, like, lived in Minnesota, like Minnesota, for example, they have such a distinct accent, and that's part of the Midwest.
Minnesota is part of the Midwest?
Yeah.
Why did I think that was, like...
It's just like, yeah, that's
way up high.
Well, someone who was like from Minnesota, he was saying that like we're from the South because it's like, I mean,
that Missouri is South.
Yeah,
no, Missouri is smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess St. Louis is kind of closer. But I mean, he was referring to the Midwest in general, like the state as a whole, I guess. But anyway. Fuck him. We don't like him anyway.
Minnesota is like north.
Well, yeah, Minnesota is, bordering Canada, so.
That sure as shit is not Midwest. Fuck right off with that, mister.
I mean, Michigan is Midwest. And that's also bordering Canada.
No, see, my mind, not that this matters, but Midwest is Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And that's as far as my geography goes.
Yeah, Iowa, Nebraska, Ohio is on the cusp.
Yeah, okay.
I think, yeah. So, I feel like Michigan, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin with the cheese.
So.
But neither here or there. We have Missouri ghost stories. And because we have 2 ghost stories and we're going to split it into 2 episodes, Melanie is going to flip a coin to see who goes first.
Oh, gosh. This is going to work against me, I have a feeling.
Heads or tails?
What do you want?
Tails.
As it falls into my tit.
Onto her boob.
It is tails.
All right.
So.
Does that mean I go first?
What? Yeah, I guess.
We didn't say that. Okay, we need to say who goes.
Okay, fine. We'll do you want to flip again?
Flip again.
So you're calling tails, and if it gets tails, does that mean I go?
If it gets what I want, which is tails, then you go first.
Okay, I'll try this again. And it's heads.
All right, Melanie is up.
Well, wait. doesn't mean you
Do
go
we-
because I was tense, and so
The other person goes.
yeah,
Okay.
I thought that's what we just. Where I can go, I don't care.
That's fine. I will go first.
Okay.
All right. And this episode, I guess, will be the first one. So we'll mention the charity and and yours.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So mine is about someone who disappears into thin air. And let me pull up my notes because I didn't think that I would go first.
Oh, I mean that. Well, that makes me feel like I should go first.
No, I got it. It's up. It's up.
Okay.
All right. So this is a story of Jerrold Potter and how he disappeared into thin air, literally.
Okay.
So, and I'll be really curious as to what people think of this, because I feel like if you are into the spooky, then you can see it as a ghost story. If you don't believe in any of that type of stuff, you'd be like,
Well,
oh,
yeah.
you'll be like, duh, obvious. It
Yeah.
just did this. But I feel like there's still not, because I'm like on both sides, you know, logic first, science, but also love the supernatural and the mystery. And I'm undecided on this one.
I mean, I haven't heard of this one, so.
But this, because it goes a little bit further back. We're talking, what year do we start?
1990.
So far back. No, it's even further back than that.
3 decades ago.
The 60s, almost the 70s.
Okay.
All right, so June 1968, the Lions Club organization was holding its annual national convention in Dallas, and that's where our main character, Jerrold or Jerry Potter, was going to. He was a member.
Okay.
And the Lions Club, it's a club that was started in 1917, and it was in response to the problems that were caused in World War I and all the rapid industrialization. So a businessman named Marvin Jones, he invited different business clubs from around the U.S. to meet, and that is where this Association of Lions was formed. And so it's essentially like a foundation, and it says it's with the mission to, quote, support the efforts of lion clubs and partners in serving communities locally and globally, giving hope and impacting lives through humanitarian service projects and grants.
So you say lion as in, like, the animal?
Lion.
Okay.
And I'm wearing my Lindenwood Lions
I know, I was
thing.
gonna say.
That was not on purpose. But yeah, so he was a part of this foundation that did humanitarian service stuff. And him and his wife were on the way to go to the annual convention that this club has.
His lioness.
His lioness. Yep. Her name is Carrie Potter.
So we had Jerry and Carrie.
We got Jerry and Carrie. Yeah, actually. That's cute. I didn't catch that before. They board a DC-3 plane, which I don't know anything about planes. I just know that this one is small as shit. DC-3. And they boarded in Kankakee, Illinois. Kankakee?
Oh my god, Kankakee?
Kankakee?
How is it spelled?
Kankakee.
Where? Kankakee, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
that's where I used to live.
Get out.
Like, before we moved to St. Louis, like, we lived in, like, the county over from Kankakee.
What
so
is
funny.
happening? The
That's funny.
spook has begun. Lion hoodie and where Melanie's roots are from.
No, not my roots. Well, anyway.
You lived there.
Yeah, we
you
live.
have-
Yeah, I have memories there.
So say it again, Kankakee.
Kankakee.
Because if I didn't phonetically spell that out, I would have said Kankakee,
No, it's Kankakee.
Kankakee,
Kankakee,
Illinois. Okay.
Illinois. It's near Chicago. It's like
So it's northern.
Yeah, it's like an
Illinois.
hour south Chicago. That's what I
Okay.
just tell people. Yeah, I lived in the suburbs for 4 years.
Oh,
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that over Kankakee.
Kankakee.
Yeah.
Small ass town, or at least it used to be. But anyway, continue.
Anyway, so this is where they board their plane. Is in this place. Like I said, small ass plane, and it was Jerry, his wife Carrie, and then 19 others.
Named Larry and Barry.
Harry,
And all the
all
Aries.
the Aries. Flying the plane was experienced pilot Miguel Cabeza.
Okay, he sounds hot.
Well, the last name gets me, Cabeza, which is Spanish for head. So it's Miguel Head. Cabeza?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds hot, I guess.
I didn't look up a picture, but he could be. And then, before we get into what happened to Jerry, let's talk about who he is real quick, because I think it's important to know the victim. Spoiler alert, Jerry is the one that disappears. I think I said that.
Dun.
Yeah. So he lived in Pontiac, Illinois. He worked in insurance. He was an insurance executive.
Exciting.
Very. He was a part of the Lions Club, and he was virtually a part of every other club very similar to the Lions Club. Just really enjoyed helping other people, giving back to the community, and giving back to people less fortunate. He's described as being very friendly and very sociable. He was the Pontiac City Councilman, and he was the Mayor Pro Tem, which just means, like, for a short time, short term, for time being. He was described as, like, an extremely nice person who had a great personality. A lot of people really enjoyed working with him. So all around sounds like a well-rounded, genuine, good people. And by the time that this flight happens, him and Carrie were empty nesters. So they had 2 daughters, and they were out of the house by the time they're going on this convention. And after the daughters left the house, they were taking full advantage of just being them 2 again. So they would take any and all opportunities to travel anywhere they wanted to. And the first part of the plane ride was very uneventful. And then nature called, so Jerry decided that he was going to go and use the bathroom.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like nature called and they fell out of the plane or some shit.
No.
But then I was going to make a joke about him needing to take a shit, but then you were
that is what
that's
he needed
literally
to do.
what he needed to do.
Yeah. Now, it didn't specify if he had to go number 1 or number 2. It just put it politely, saying that nature called.
It was lost to history.
He needed to use the laboratory.
Laboratory.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if he told his wife if he was going to go 1 or 2.
I don't think she cared.
I always ask Vic, are you pooping?
I do that all the time to Nate.
You need to poop?
I'm like, the door's closed and Nate's just in there. I'm like, you pooping? He's like, go away. Leave me alone. But I want to talk to you. You're just sitting there.
Leave me.
You're just sitting there.
I miss you. Well, we only close the door when we're pooping, so I know if the door is closed, he's pooping.
That's usually how we are too.
And we always wish each other good luck.
Yeah, that's fair. Man, it's rough in there.
Yeah, you just want a good poop. So good luck. I hope you have that. Anyway, so Jerry goes to the bathroom. We don't know what he was going to do. And while he is going to the bathroom, they're flying over Rolla, Missouri at this point when he goes. And he knows another person on the plane. It's someone else who's going to the same convention. So they have, like, a quick conversation. Carrie's, like, in the middle of the plane. She can hear that they're having a conversation.
About
and
his
she hears
shit.
them laughing. I hope it's not small enough to where you can hear everything. But
No, that's what they're talking about. They're laughing about the shit he just took.
no, he hasn't gotten to the bathroom yet. He's en route still.
Okay, sorry. Keep going. I'm very invested in this mission.
So, I mean, that's just to point out that, like, someone else besides his wife saw him go into the bathroom. And he was sitting right by the bathroom, saw him go in.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, where the pilot and Miguel Cabeza and his co-pilot Ray Barkas, they're enjoying what was up to this point a non-eventful textbook flight, which is what everyone wants. And then all of a sudden, Miguel noticed that a certain light was on that should not be on. And this light was flashing in bright red, saying door open. So Miguel was like, that's not supposed to be happening. And the initial thought was like, oh, the light is malfunctioning because, like, no one felt anything, no one heard anything. They just saw this light flashing. And I mean, you don't want anything to be bad, or you don't want to assume the worst. So his initial thought was that, like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a malfunction.
Yeah.
And while I guess, like, some more time has passed, enough time has passed where Jerry hasn't come back yet, and now his wife is starting to get worried. She did mention that occasionally, like, he will get seizures or get, like, convulsions, according to one source. And so she was worried that that may have happened and he had fallen over in the bathroom or he was unconscious. So she called the stewardess over and she explained, like, hey, my husband went to the bathroom a while ago. He hasn't returned. Can you please go and check on him? I'm worried about him. So while Carrie is having this conversation with the stewardess, the co-pilot, he actually comes out of the cockpit to walk down and see what is happening with the light. The stewardess is in the way because she's just had this conversation.
Yeah.
And she's not used to seeing anyone come out of the cockpit, you know,
Yeah.
pilot
She's
and
like,
co-pilot.
Who the fuck are you?
And she's like, I think she knows who he is, but she's like, why the fuck are you out here?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? So he explains that, like, oh, the light has come on. And she was like, oh, shit. And he's like, well, what? And he's like, well, this lady just says that her husband's been gone for a long time and she's worried about him. So they try to, is it inconspicuously or conspicuously?
I don't know.
They try to, like, I mix them up all the time.
Wait, so what? They're trying to sneak?
They're trying to, subtly rush to the back of the plane.
Inconspicuously, I believe.
One of the conspicuously's rushed to the back of the plane.
I don't have a master's in English.
Those, like, I feel like, tangent, I feel like I'm pretty good at, like, words. I pride myself on having an extended vocabulary some of the times. But those two, always, I mix them up. Pause so that we can figure this out.
Inconspicuous is not clearly visible or attracting attention. So
Okay.
not conspicuous. And so conspicuous is standing out as to be clearly visible, attracting notice or attention.
Okay, so they try to
Inconspicuously
inconspicuously rush to the back of the plane to see what is going on. What is amiss here? And so they get to the back of the plane, and lo and behold, Jerry is not in the bathroom. And so it's like, where the fuck else could he have gone? And so they get they get to the back, they check the bathroom, he's not there. They find where the source was. So the door was open, but only just enough to set off the alarm. Like, we're talking like a hairline or like a fraction open. It's not wide the fuck
Well, this is like a
open.
moving plane, right?
This is, we are up in the air right
so
now.
it's like if that opened, you would notice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is one of the points. If a door opened, you would feel something, you would hear something.
Yeah.
You would feel some sort of fucking breeze happen. I would feel like, I don't know if air would get sucked out or you'd feel...
Yeah, you would definitely notice, though.
Right. But so the point or the thing that they make is that, so the DC-3 planes, which this was one of them, they don't require their cabins to be pressurized. Meaning no one would notice the small amount of air passing through the opening. Keyword, small amount of air passing through the opening would not be noticed. Again, how would a man get out, though, without opening it the why the fuck open?
Yeah, or at least enough that he could...
Get out.
Yeah.
That would be noticeable. Again, lavatory is empty, and there's a piece of chain found on the ground by the door. So Roy picks it up, and this is a small ass plane, so there's not too many places that Jerry could go and hide, right? So you can essentially just look and you can see. He's not in the bathroom, he's not in a seat. Where else could he be? So now it's time to alert the pilot, hey, we have a situation here. And pilot hears him out, and then he immediately lands. I think they land in like Springfield or something. And while this is happening, though, like, Carrie, the wife, she's sitting there, and she can see him, and the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit, and she, like, it hits her that, like, they can't find him. So she starts panicking, and, she's, like, screaming, like, where is he? Where is my husband? Causes people to panic, so they had no choice but to land the plane. I mean, especially because, one of your passengers is missing.
Yeah.
So they land in Springfield. Investigation begins immediately. No one, including Carrie or the 21 other passengers, had any explanation of what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
One moment he was there and one moment he was not.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a list of possible different scenarios, and we'll see what evidence or lack thereof we have to support it. There's different theories that people have had. So, theory 1, the Mr. Bean scenario. Was it possible that Jerry tripped on his way to the bathroom, he hit the door hard enough to bust it open and suck him out while the plane was in the air? Because there was that broken chain on the ground.
Was that covering the door?
There was like the door and then the chain was broken. So one theory is that he was going to the bathroom, he tripped, he fell against this chain that broke the chain and then happened to fall perfectly on the handle to open it. And so the door opens and he keeps falling out of the plane.
Okay.
So that one's a little bit far-fetched. I mean, the other thing too to note is that if the door did open that much for him to go out, someone would have seen it. Everyone would have seen it or heard it or something, would have noticed it. That would have been that would have made enough noise and enough disturbance for people to notice.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's not a door that you can just fall into and open. You can fall into it and maybe break the chain if it's like a shitty chain. But the way that the door is that it had a specific mechanism. So the door handle had to be turned 180 degrees before it was unlocked.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is no easy feat. Like, it takes 2 stewardesses to do this. Jerry is a little bit older. He's not,
he's a man.
He's a man. But he was not described as like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He's just, a very humble man. They were saying that his smaller stature and on being on the older side, it was highly improbable that he would be able to do it willingly, let alone by accident.
Or on his own at all.
Too. Right. Yes. And again, I think that it would require enough effort that it would gain some sort of attention or make some sort of noise. All right, so that's theory number 1. Theory number 2 is suicide. What if it wasn't an accident? So let's say we throw accident out the door. Let's say he is now willingly trying to open the door.
Yeah.
So some people, this seems like a little bit more logical, but there's very little evidence to support the idea that he was suicidal. Yeah. And this is where I know that things kind of get like gray area, because even though like he doesn't show any signs of being suicidal, that doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't. There's plenty of people that have committed suicide that showed no signs whatsoever leading up to it that he would. Yeah. So for me, like, this theory, like, it doesn't matter if there is evidence to support that he was or not. It doesn't make a difference in my mind. Yeah. It would seem like he wasn't just because he was so involved with everything. But there's plenty of people that do get involved with all that type of stuff that are. So I could see either way that he was and wasn't.
Yeah, but like you said, I don't think it's relevant. Like, it doesn't really matter, because it's like, either way, he's off the plane. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it doesn't matter if...
Like, even if he was, like, he would still need to turn that handle.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how he got out, not necessarily why he got out.
Right, and this was, people trying to put some sort of reason behind it. What kind of logic can explain this? Pause. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, so I just said that I didn't put too much weight onto the evidence on that, quote-unquote evidence. The third theory is the brain fart scenario. So if it wasn't deliberate and it wasn't by accident, did he mistake that door for the bathroom door? Which... when I first read that, I was like, oh shit. It was like a new fear unlocked, because I've gone to the back of planes before and I'm not for sure what is the door. But unless Jerry was like a complete fuckwit that didn't read or didn't use his eyes, there's no way that he would miss the giant glaring sign, do not open this door.
Well, also I feel like, the door for a bathroom versus exiting a plane is going to be a different type of door.
Yeah, it's a little bit more obvious that,
Yeah.
like, oh, I shouldn't be going out this way.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So I don't buy into that theory. Like, there's no way that you would just think, oh, I'm having such a hard time getting into this bathroom. This is the correct door. Theory number 4 is the insurance plot. So he was an insurance executive. He worked in insurance. Did he purposely get out of the plane to give his family a large payout? I think that one's a stretch. And again, you would notice if you try to open the door. Theory number 5, airline negligence. So maybe the DC-3 doors weren't properly closed on takeoff, and so it was like a little bit easier for him to open. He didn't have to do the whole 180 turn. And then also, maybe it was equipped with a faulty emergency chain. But then my question came up was, so then wouldn't the light be on immediately? Wouldn't you have some sort of, I mean, maybe not. Maybe there isn't a light if something is faulty.
Yeah, or it's so it's still like triggering it, the lock, like it's still showing that it's locked even though it technically isn't.
Even if it isn't all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's one theory, is that maybe it was already, but I feel like on the takeoff or something, like, that would open the door more and become more obvious that it's not totally secured. And wouldn't you have like these, pre-flight checks?
Yeah.
It's the 60s, different time. I don't know.
They could smoke on the plane.
By 68 still?
Oh, probably. I feel
when
like,
did that get? Doesn't matter, but
I feel like they could still smoke until like the 90s or some shit. I don't know.
I think for sure the 70s, maybe 80s. Yeah, you could be right. Maybe it was the 90s that it stopped. And then there's other theories or suggestions that they start getting a little bit more out there. So one of them, aliens.
Clearly, that is it. He got
They saw
abducted.
Jerry very vulnerable and decided to take him with his pants down. They say never get caught with your pants down. So that's one theory. The other theory that someone threw out there was spontaneous combustion.
Okay, but there's you can always tell when that happens though. There's like
There'd be left over.
Well, no, it's not even like there's like I've heard that there's like no remnants of their body even, but it's like there's always some sort of like you can tell if it was like there's like a random shoe or there's like something is singed. I don't know. Even if like you don't necessarily see like the remnants of this body, like there's something that like
There'd be some sort of evidence that happened.
Yeah.
Right. And there was nothing. They were trying to argue that like his ashes fell into the toilet and it got flushed.
I just think
and,
he fell into the toilet. Because they always
that used to be a fear of mine.
I know.
You get sucked out of the plane.
And I'm like, I never would pee on planes because of that. Because I was like, I'm gonna get. I don't know.
Sucked
I
out.
feel like it was I always thought that actually was like.
It's a valid childhood fear.
Well, I thought it was like, especially with like older planes, maybe that actually was a thing that was a possibility. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like now, like that you can't fit through, the hole. But what if the whole toilet chunk just?
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I feel like in spy movies that happens. I don't know. They're just like
in the movies that happens.
I mean, hey, yeah.
Another theory was vicious gremlins. So have you heard of plane gremlins?
No.
All right, so I had seen them in movies, and I didn't know that this was like a thing. But right around World War II, or especially around World War II, a lot of people thought that they would see these gremlins on planes. It's just like these fuzzy little animals. It's not the gremlins that we think of from the cult classic movie Gremlins. There's not like one specific image that comes up if you look up like plane gremlins, but they're usually just like little tricksters, kind of monkey looking type deal things that are on planes. And it came around during the 30s and 40s whenever like something was inexplicable. And so air crews and people started blaming these tricksters on otherwise inexplicable accidents.
Yeah.
And eventually it became like a scapegoat for issues that occurred during the flights.
Yeah.
And it was like a way to like deflect blame.
Yeah.
Or it was like a scapegoat for human or
Yeah.
machine error. But we've seen a movie where like they actually do put the plane gremlins like on there. And I didn't, dig too deep into the history about, the sightings and everything like that. But I do know that that was like a thing. So, and this was 68. So, I mean, you're kind of a couple decades off of it. But someone threw that out there.
Maybe it was snakes on a plane.
The snakes took him.
They ate him. And then the snake...
And then they went down the toilet.
Yes, because the snake could fit also maybe through the door. Even if the whole... Maybe... I mean, it took long enough. The snake hung around for long enough for the body to digest. So then he could pat...
Just a fast digestive system. Because, yeah, I mean, this happened when they were flying over Rolla. And then by the time they realized, they landed in Springfield.
Yeah,
I mean, that's minutes in a plane, I feel like.
I mean, it's, like 30 minutes. I mean, it's not far.
Yeah.
But I think that, I mean, my theory is that he, like, maybe it was, like, they were trying to do the insurance fraud, but he, like, just, like, changed his appearance and, like, sat in a different seat and was, like...
But there's one missing passenger. That's the thing. They were missing a passenger when they landed.
Well, maybe he acted like there was an extra passenger, maybe. Like, they were, like, put a bunch of coats or some shit in his seat and made it look like someone was there.
And bought an extra ticket for the
person. Because if they're going to commit insurance fraud, like, you got to commit to the bit. So
you got to commit.
So, that's what I think.
The other theory was that he had a heart attack while he was in the bathroom. And the airline... hid the body and tried to cover it up. But it's like, if he had a heart attack, why cover it up if it's an accident?
Yeah, I feel like that is a death that you wouldn't try to cover up. But like maybe McGill, or what's his name, Manuel or Miguel, maybe he fucking stabbed him and he killed him.
So no one saw Miguel Cabeza leave the cockpit with a knife, stab a man, and come back.
He did something too. He is part of this plan.
Well, so Carrie ends up suing. Carrie and daughter sue Purdue Aviation, which was the company that owned the plane, because they thought that the airline was negligent on some way, shape, or form. It's like, how do you lose a man? Theory-wise, I have no idea. None of it makes any sense whatsoever.
No. That's why I feel like there's something missing, I feel like, from this story. Like, I don't know.
There's gotta be.
Yeah, it's not like a full... Because, it's like...
And it's like, it's a small enough group to where, like, everyone can be in on it.
Yeah.
But it's like, to what point? To what benefit, though?
Insurance fraud, I guess. I don't know. That's...
Maybe. And then they pay everyone out? It's only like 20 people that you pay out?
I don't know. I mean, they're all lions, right? Lions got to protect their pride.
So Jerry and Carrie I guess Jerry was a lion, and then there was one other lion person that was on there. And then I think everyone else were just, your regular Joe Schmoes. But suing wise, they didn't get very far. Essentially, like, didn't go anywhere. You couldn't prove anything. That was the thing. There was no evidence.
But, like, where the fuck is he? Like, that's your proof right there. Like, you're...
Right. So his body fell while they were flying over the Ozarks. So I looked it up. The Ozarks are a tad big. They're approximately 47,000 square miles.
Yeah.
Or, to put it in more terms that I could understand, is 300 miles long and 200 miles wide. That is a lot of land, and a lot of that land is rural.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'd be able to cover that many miles. I feel like if someone was missing in my life, I would be out there still covering said miles. But they have not found a body. To this day, it's been over 50 years, they have not found a body.
I'm assuming it's a closed case, though. I'm sure.
Well, after so many years, then you can be declared dead. They did have a funeral for him. But to me, there's so many unanswered questions. Yeah. Where is the body?
I still think he changed his name to like Barry.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, the biggest.
He ended up in the UK somehow from good old Missouri.
And met J.K. Rowling.
And that's where she got the whole plot.
Yeah. Checks. I think we just solved the case right there. But then I was thinking also, okay.
He's a wizard.
He is.
That's how it happened. Because he's a fucking wizard.
With the last name Potter, I mean, he's got to be Harry Potter's, like, grandpa. Or dad. He's not that old. Maybe grandpa. But I was thinking, like, okay, let's say his body did fall out of the plane and it was sitting somewhere. Like, have they not found the body yet? Because, like, do wild animals eat bone and all?
I mean, I feel like the Ozarks, I don't know, like, there's so much weird shit that goes on in the Ozarks. So I feel
per the show.
Yeah. Well, just in general, like, it's a very, like, in Appalachia, and, like, isn't that, like, part of it, too? I don't know, the mount, like, it's just the whole...
There are mountains, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's a very mysterious area, I know.
Bermuda Triangle
Yeah.
of the Midwest.
Yeah, like, there's, like, the Ozarks is, yeah, and there's, like, it's such a vast area. Yeah, and shit goes wrong there all the time, it seems like. I don't know.
Yeah. I have thought a lot about this. And so this was according to one source that I read. There are other sources that say different things, which I found, like, interesting. It's like, did different people tell different stories at different times? Like, did they change up their stories? Like, how do you get that many different variations of the story? So I have what other sources say, because I want to just put it all out there. So one passenger, the one that I think he spoke to, Jim Shave, he says, quote, "Nobody knows what happened. It just happened." He said there was a loud noise. The plane sort of quivered a little bit and the door came open. There was a rush of air. Nobody saw Mr. Potter actually fall out. He was there 1 second and gone the next. Which is none of that is fucking mentioned at all in the other source.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, because
the other source,
noise,
the other source says that no one heard anything, no one saw anything, no one felt any rush. But then this source says that this Jim dude says that they heard a loud noise, they felt the plane quiver, they felt the rush of air. Which, okay, yeah, if that is true, then he must have fallen out.
And then he closed the door behind him. Yeah,
that's the thing. How did the door close? He was such a gentleman that he closed his door on his way out.
He's just, like, falling and, like, smacks it. I don't know.
Or it's like, don't let the door hit you on the way out type deal. And then the pilot, Miguel Cabeza, he also said that he detected a lurch and then a sudden drag on the aircraft. And then he noticed the open door light.
Maybe they were drunk. I don't know.
Why are there so many variations?
That's why I'm like, there's just so many different stories. That's why it's like, yeah. But the one thing that stayed consistent that everyone agreed on, that it was like, to open that door would take a lot of effort. That door would be really hard to open. Yeah.
And again, like, the latch was designed to prevent the door from opening in flight. So it would be even harder while the plane is in the air to open it. You have the 180-degree turn, and then you have, like, those 2 bayonet-type bolts that need to be withdrawn.
Also, and I feel like opening a plane door is a lot of... Especially, like, in flight, because it's, like, all the pressure outside the plane. So it's, like...
Right. Is it a push or a pull? Either way, I feel like it'd be really hard in the air.
Yeah.
And then search and rescue effort-wise, they had multiple counties, combined forces of 150 highway patrol troopers and sheriff deputies, Fort Leonard Wood soldiers, the Civil Air Patrol, and local volunteers all go out. They went on foot, they went on horseback, they scoured the area, could not find his body. They first concentrated around the Gasconade River, which is where they thought that his body may have landed based on where they were in the flight. And then from there, then they branched out and broadened the search. One of the sergeants was like, it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
If you're talking Ozarks.
Yeah.
There was 2 county boys that said they saw what they thought was a folding chair fly or like falling from the sky.
That was the UFO. That's where the aliens came from.
Like a folding chair. I was like, but then the person, like, I'm trying to picture a person that would look like a folding chair.
I mean, unless it just makes me think he's like, an Olympic diver, like got his
He's
tucked in, got the
he's doing the pike dive, like,
or whatever. I don't know.
The tuck dive.
Yeah, like he's holding the back of his legs or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, like, or was he holding like the parachute? I don't know.
Yeah,
I just pictured someone in
the
a folding
chair
chair.
is the parachute.
Yeah. Did he take his seat with him?
Yeah.
But that report didn't lead to any discovery, and then several days later there was a heavy rain, and by the 4th of July they called off the search. And it was actually called off by the Potter family, so the family called it off.
See,
blows July 4th. Let's see here. The flight took place in June, so you're not even looking for one full goddamn month.
I feel like they're in on it because they're like, oh, it's fine.
Like, I would, like, to this day, I would be looking still. Romero, I will look for you, always.
Aw.
It just blows my mind that they would just call it off. And let's see here. Yeah, so he's legally dead. Questions of his remains still are around. Oh, and what is even more freaky, and which we could potentially do, like, follow-ups on, was, an article from the New York Daily News published 2 months after the disappearance, so only 2 months after the disappearance, cited the case was much like 2 previous mysterious incidents. So on February 11th, 1950, a flight attendant fatally plunged 8,000 feet to Long Island below when the plane's doors suddenly and inexplicably opened during the flight. That same day, that same exact fucking day, another flight attendant was jerked through a DC-3's improperly closed door mid-flight at 2,500 feet over Florida.
Yeah.
The flight attendant managed to hang on to the door handle for 8 minutes until the aircraft landed safely.
I mean,
for 8 minutes, this lady is holding on for dear life while they land.
I couldn't do that.
For your dear life?
I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't have the arm strength, but I mean...
Physically incapable.
Yeah.
I think adrenaline rush, when you're fighting for your life, you become Superman.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe.
But it's like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Of these 2 other incidents? And one of them was another DC-3 plane. So, yeah, maybe...
The negligence. Like,
yeah.
It just sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. But, like I said, Carrie sued. I think she was trying for like $800,000, and she only got $80,000, quote unquote, only, and that was back in like '68.
Yeah,
so that was a decent chunk for back then. And then May of 1977, there was an interview with the Pantagraph newspaper. Carrie said authorities contacted her in 1970. Because they found a body near the area where Jerry would have disappeared. Unfortunately, though, it was not her husband. She was able to tell from the shoe size that it was not him.
Shoe size.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of a stretch. So it almost, this is just pure speculation, but it almost seems like the Potter family is not trying super hard.
That's what I feel like the family's in on it.
Something.
Yeah, it sounds like...
And like how long was he gone before the wife said something?
I mean, long enough for him to get the fuck out.
But, yeah.
She's had too much to drink on that plane, maybe.
I
feel like this is
know.
all a fever dream, and they actually like this is all just like he
It
was totally fine the whole
It
time.
doesn't seem real, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems
Well, she died in 1991 at 81 years of age with no answers. Or she took the answer to her grave.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It is possible.
So I'm curious, what do people think happened to Jerry Potter? Any and all theories are welcomed. No judges on any of the theories.
I think he became a wizard.
You're going with the Harry Potter
yeah,
wizard
I think his
one?
family. I don't know. Like even if he's not a wizard, I feel like his family is in on it because it just seems like
You call off the search so early.
Yeah.
It's not even 1 month.
Yeah.
I don't care how big the Ozarks are. If it is my husband
Mm-hmm.
that I truly love and I'm to death do us part, we are not apart until I can confirm you are dead.
maybe she pushed him.
Well, that's what's like, is everyone in on something? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that she pushed him. I think the door was faulty, similar to that other plane. And
Or maybe they knew they could do some like ruse like that and they could just blame it on.
But there's no way that, even though it's a small plane and like that few people, someone has to have a moral conscience strong enough to where they would not be able to keep quiet. And no one can keep a secret for that long. People tell people things. So like 50 years later and we still don't have answers. That's what blows my mind.
Also, the cat's doing something.
Yeah, that is Ozzy. She tries to be sneaky and she tries to be really quiet. And
What
she
is
goes
she
into the
eating?
kitchen and she'll like she's like our little scavenger and she'll eat stuff
Okay.
from
I was like,
pans.
is she getting into something? Okay.
She's trying to.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
That's right. That is the story of Jerry Potter. Let us know what you think. I am genuinely curious.
And that was in that book.
Yes, so I have it presented for the video. Oh, sorry, Theo. I put my little ghost out also because we're telling ghost stories, and so we're like, Theo is in heaven. We're telling stories of him. So this book is called Ghost Stories of Missouri, and this is actually where I got like the Limp Mansion story that I talked about around Halloween with James. There's plenty of other ones in here, but the Limp Mansion one and this one are by far the most compelling or the most interesting ones. And the author is A.S. Mott. I tried to look up A.S. Mott, and I can't find a lot of information. They also like to be mysterious. I don't know if it's a man, woman, or whatever. But A.S. Mott. I like their style of writing. They are very entertaining writers. They list their sources. So yeah, if you want to check it out. And I'll link the other sources that kind of contradicted it as well in the show notes. So, all right, let us know. Bye.
Bye.